Ooh. This last March the 5th, Matthew 10:26-42. But don't be afraid of those who threaten you, for the time is coming when everyone will be revealed. All that is secret will be made public. What I tell you now in the darkness, shout abroad when the day breaks come. What I whisper in your ears, shout from the housetops for all to hear. Don't be afraid of those who want to kill you. They can only kill your body. They cannot touch your soul. Fear only God, who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Not even a sparrow worth only a half a penny can fall to the ground without your Father's knowing it. And the very hairs on your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You're more valuable to him than a whole flock of sparrows. If anyone acknowledges me publicly here on earth, I will openly acknowledge that person before my Father in heaven. But if anyone denies me here on earth, I will deny that person before my Father in heaven. Don't imagine that I come to bring peace to the earth. No. I imagine that I come to bring peace to the earth. No. I can a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Your enemies will be right in your own household. If you love your father or your mother more than you love me, you are not worthy of being mine. Or if you love your son or daughter more than me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me, you are not worthy of being mine. If you cling to being mine. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give it up for me, you will find it. Anyone who welcomes you is welcoming me, and anyone who welcomes me is welcoming the Father who sent me. If you welcome a prophet as one who speaks for God, you will receive the same reward a prophet gets. And if you welcome good and godly people because of their godliness, you will be given a reward like theirs. And if you give even a cup, Matthew 26-42, Leviticus 9 and 10. The priests bringing their work. After the ordination ceremony on the 8th day, Moses called together Aaron and his sons, the leaders of Israel. He said to Aaron, take a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a whole burnt offering, both with no physical defects. A bull for a sin offering and a ram for a whole burnt offering, both with no physical defects. Take a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a whole burnt offering, both with no physical defects, and present them to the Lord. Then tell the Israelites to take a male goat for a sin offering for themselves, and a year-old calf and a year-old lamb for a burnt offering, each with no physical defects. Also tell them to take a bull and a ram for a peace offering, and flour mixed with olive oil for a grain offering. Tell them to present all of these offerings to the Lord, because the Lord will appear to them today. So the people brought all of these things to the entrance of the tabernacle, just as Moses had commanded. The whole community came and stood there in the town's presence. Then Moses told them, when you have followed these instructions from the Lord, the glorious presence of the Lord will appear to you. Then Moses said to Aaron, approach the altar and present your sin offerings and your whole burnt offerings to make atonement for yourself. Then present the offering to make atonement for the people, just as the Lord commanded. So Aaron went to the altar and slaughtered the calf as a sin offering for himself. his son brought him the blood, and he dipped his finger into it and put it on the horns of the altar. He poured out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. Then he burnt on the altar the fat, the kidneys, and the lobe of the liver from the sin offering, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. The meat and the hide, however, he burnt outside the camp. Next, Aaron slaughtered the animal for the whole burnt offering. His sons brought him the blood and sprinkled it against the sides of the altar. They handed the animal to him piece by piece, including the head, and he burnt each part on the altar. Then he washed the internal organs and the legs, and also burnt them on the altar as a whole burnt offering. Next, Aaron presented the sacrifices for the people. He slaughtered the people's goat and presented it as a sin offering, just as he had done previously for himself. Then he brought the whole burnt offering and presented it in a prescribed way. He also brought out the grain offering, burning a handful of flour on the altar, in addition to the regular morning offering. Then Aaron slaughtered the bull and the ram for the peace offering. And his sons brought him the blood, and he sprinkled it against the sides of the altar. Then he took the fat from the bull and the ram, the fat from the tail and from around the internal organs, along with the kidneys and the lobe of the liver. Placed these fat parts on the top of the breast of these animals, and then he burnt them on top of the altar. Aaron then lifted up the breast and the right thigh as an offering to the Lord, just as Moses had commanded. After that, Aaron raised his hands toward the people and blessed them. Then, after presenting the offering, the whole burnt offering, and the peace offering, he stepped down from the altar. Next, Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle. And when they came back out, they blessed the people again, and the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to the whole community. The fire blazed forth from the Lord's presence, and it consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar. When the people saw this, they all shouted with joy and fell face down on the ground. The sin of Nadab and Abihu. Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, put coals of fire in their incense burners and sprinkled incense over it. In this way, they disobeyed the Lord by burning before him a different kind of fire than he commanded. So fire blazed forth from the Lord's presence and burnt them up, and they died there before the Lord. Then Moses said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord meant when he said, 'I will show myself holy among those who are near me. I will be glorified before all the people.'" Aaron was silent. Then Moses called for Mishael and Eliphaz, Aaron's cousins, and the sons of Aaron's uncles Uzi. He said to them, "Come and carry the bodies of your relatives away from the sanctuary to place them outside the camp." So they came forward and carried them outside the camp by their tunics as Moses had commanded. Then Moses said to Aaron and his sons, "Do not mourn by letting your hair hang loose or by tearing your clothing. If you do, you will die, and the Lord will be angry with the whole community of Israel. However, the rest of the Israelites, your relatives, may mourn for Nadab and Abihu, whom the Lord has destroyed by fire. But you are not to leave the entrance of the tabernacle under penalty of death, for the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you." So they did as Moses commanded. Instructions for the priestly conduct. Then the Lord said to Aaron, "You and your descendants must never drink wine or any other alcoholic drink before going into the tabernacle. If you do, you will die. This is a permanent law for you, and you must keep it by all future generations. You are distinguished between what is holy and what is ordinary, what is ceremonially unclean and what is clean. And you must teach the Israelites all the laws that the Lord has given through Moses." Then Moses said to Aaron and his remaining sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, "Take what is left of the grain offering after the handful has been presented to the Lord by fire. Make sure there is no yeast in it, and eat it beside the altar, for it is most holy. It must be eaten in a sacred place, For it has been your descendants as your regular share in offerings given to the Lord by fire. These are the commands I have been given. Offerings given to the Lord by fire. These are the commands I have been given. Lifted up may be eaten in any place that is ceremonially clean. These parts have been given to you and your sons and daughters as your regular share of the peace offering presented by the people of Israel. The thigh and the breast that are lifted up must be lifted up to the Lord along with the fat of the offering given by fire. Then they will belong to you and your descendants forever, just as the Lord commanded. When Moses demanded to know what had happened to the goat of the sin offering, he discovered it had been burnt up. As a result, he became very angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's remaining sons. Why didn't you eat the sin offering in the sanctuary area? He demanded. It is a holy offering. It was given to you for removing the guilt of the community and making atonement for the people before the Lord. Since animal blood was not taken to the holy place, you should have eaten the meat in the sanctuary area as I ordered you. Then Aaron answered Moses on behalf of his sons. Today, my sons presented both their sin offerings and their burnt offerings to the Lord, he said. This kind of thing has also happened to me. Would the Lord have approved if I have eaten the sin offering today? And when Moses heard this, he approved. That was Leviticus 9 and 10. Finishing up today in Proverbs 23. Proverbs 23. When dining with the ruler, pay attention to what is put before you. If you are a big eater, put a knife to your throat and don't desire all the delicacies. Deception may be involved. Don't weary yourself trying to get rich. Why waste your time? For riches can disappear as though they had wings of a bird. Do not eat with people who are stingy. Don't desire the delicacies. Eat and drink, they say, but they don't mean it. They are always thinking about how much it costs. You will vomit up the delicious food they serve, and you will have to take back your words of appreciation for their kindness. Don't waste your breath on fools, for they despise the wisest advice. Don't steal the land of defenseless or orphans, don't steal the land of defenseless orphans by moving the ancient boundary markers, for their Redeemer is strong. He himself will bring charges against you. Commit yourself to instruction. Attune your ears to the words of knowledge. Don't fail to correct your children. They won't die if you speak. Physical discipline may save them from death. My child, how I will rejoice if you become wise. Yes, my heart will thrill when you speak what is right and just. Don't envy sinners, but always continue to fear the Lord, for surely you have a future ahead of you. Your hope will not be disappointed. My child, listen and be wise. Keep your heart on the right course. Do not carouse with drunkards and gluttoners, for they are on their way to poverty. Too much sleep clothes a person with rags. Listen to your father who gave you life, and don't despise your mother's experience when she is old. Get the truth and don't ever sell it. Also get wisdom, discipline, and discernment. The father of godly children has cause for joy. What pleasure it is to have wise children. So give your parents joy. May she who gave birth to you be happy. O my son, give me your heart. May your eyes delight in all of my ways of wisdom. A prostitute is a deep pit, and an adulterous woman is treacherous. She hides and waits like a robber, looking for another victim who will be unfaithful to his wife. Who has anguish? Who has sorrow? Who is always fighting? Who is always complaining? Who has unnecessary bruises? Who has bloodshot eyes? Is the one who spends long hours in taverns trying out new drinks? Don't let the sparkle and the smooth taste of wine deceive you. For in the end, it bites like a poisonous serpent. It stings like a viper. You will hallucinate and you will say crazy things. You will stagger like a sailor tossed at sea, clinging to a swaying mast. And you will say, they hit me, but I didn't feel it. I didn't even know it when they beat me up. When I wake up, so I can have another drink. Proverbs 23. Those are our 3 readings for today. Stay blessed. Live right. And be holy. Amen.